Good afternoon, everyone. My name is always mixed up with our finance secretary. He is Chan Kin-por. I'm Chan Kin-por. So everywhere we always get mixed. But it is an honor to tie up with the finance secretary. Right? So this section is always difficult because after lunch everyone's so tired. So I'm trying to keep you all awake. So this topic is actually Hong Kong as home base is actually my baby because I've been in NESCO, I'm working very hard to ask the government to make Hong Kong a regional center for the insurance company because we have all the characteristics that make Hong Kong should be a regional hub. So I just name a few. For example, we have this very strong support from the current Hong Kong government. They have been doing everything to help the insurance industry. And the best of all, that they have understand that insurance can be used as a tool to solve the aging problem of Hong Kong. So that's why they are, and they're actually giving tax incentive for our medical products. They are now for our annuity products and also for MPF products as well. So you can see that's the direction the government is moving. The central government is also supporting Hong Kong a lot. So you can imagine we are now talking about, as the chairman has just mentioned, so very soon, I hope very soon we'll be able to, insurance company will be able to set up service center in China. And a lot of good things is coming because we maybe very soon we'll be able to have mutual recognition of this qualification with all these compliance, with all these rules, so that I hope Hong Kong can eventually get the national treatment. So when you set up an office in Hong Kong, you are just like setting up in Beijing. I think that would allow Hong Kong to have a huge tons of opportunity. To me, as a legislative councillor, I'm not only care about Hong Kong, not only in the insurance industry, but Hong Kong as a whole. Because if you have more company coming to Hong Kong, we have better talents, more good people, and also the local young people can have good job opportunity as well. So this is really so important to Hong Kong, so that is always on my top list. So now we are very lucky today because we have 4 companies. They have all their head office in Hong Kong. I hope in next year we may have 20 companies that we can discuss. I think today politically it's a very good action because you only allow local company to come here. So that we don't have to, we don't have company here we can challenge them. Why don't you set up your regional office? So that's not on our agenda. But anyway, I'm very lucky to have this 4 high-power person, and especially Winnie. She's the first woman panelist in today. So we really, I don't want to waste time here, but I really want to start with Ronald. Actually, I will try to arrange the section in this way. First of all, I ask why they choose Hong Kong as the home office. And then everyone can have not more than 3 minutes to speak on that. And then we will have this section on what are the good things about setting up office in Hong Kong. And then the last one, the second one is the challenges, and the last one is how can we improve the competitiveness of Hong Kong. So Ronald, can I start with you? Thank you.
Thank you very much, KP. Good afternoon, everyone. Before I introduce briefly FWD, I just want to make one slight correction. When KP said that people confuse him with our financial secretary, Chan Kin-por. The difference between the financial secretary and KP here is that he has a vote in our local parliament. The financial secretary needs to depend on him. So you tell me who is more powerful.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you.
And secondly, FWD was established in 2013 with a view of establishing a pan-Asian insurance company. Our vision really is to try and change the way people feel about insurance. And our home is Hong Kong. And of course, today, 5 years later, we are also in Macau, Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, Singapore, Vietnam, and Japan, and hopefully another couple more countries within Asia. FWD is also the insurance arm of Pacific Century Group, which is Mr. Richard Lee's private investment group, which has interest in other financial services, technology, media, telecommunication, and real estate. FWD also have outside shareholders in the form of Swiss Re and other institutional investors as minority shareholders. Our strategy to build the group embraces the following: a committed set of shareholders who share our long-term vision of building a different kind of insurance company. To do that, we had to steal people from a lot of you here today, so I hope you forgive us. We started with a strong base in well-regulated market, as well as focusing on the fast ASEAN market and other selected Asian markets. We created a new insurance brand, putting customer at the heart and center of everything that we do, leveraging on technology, as well as pursuing digital transformation. We built a strong foundation with international standards of corporate governance, risk management, and financial expertise. And of course, we brought the best talent both at the management as well as staff level, and indeed at the board level, with the right mixture and a sound track record of execution. So today, we're a multi-billion-dollar insurance group with about 4,800 employees, and have over 3 million individual customers and 1.5 million group members. So all I can say is that this can only be done in Asia today. But in conclusion, I want to just say to you that having gone through the 5 years, is actually not as easy as it is. Hong Kong is a seriously competitive market. Look at my neighbors on my left, you know, from the giant one down or two down to Reinsurance and to Winnie. So you're most welcome to come, but it's not going to be an easy journey. Thank you.
Thank you. So now I invite Franz, the CEO of Peak Re.
Thanks, KP. Peak Re, most of you may not know Peak Re because it's a reinsurance company. We are wholesalers. And we are not a regional hub here in Hong Kong. We have our global hub here because reinsurance needs to be done on a global basis in order to atomize our risk adequately and to diversify our risk adequately. We got the license on the 28th of December 2012. So there were 2 days more to do business in that year. It was not too much, but it was worthwhile to get started. Ever since, we have been growing quite rapidly. Last year, 2017, we ended up with $1.1 billion turnover. We never made a loss in any year, so we are very proud of this one. And this goes back to the place Hong Kong. Nowhere in the world, I would say, I would have dared to build a company like this, where we could have grown that fast. It's the spirit of Hong Kong, it's the spirit of the people, it's the agility, it's the competitiveness, it's the way we are thinking, we get things done. The can-do attitude is so important to us. We got the right people here. We got people from Hong Kong who were readily available and to jump off from well-paid jobs to join a couple of guys who had the idea to build a world-class reinsurance company out of Hong Kong. And why out of Hong Kong? It's very important because we are in the center of the fastest growing, we have heard that today again and again, the fastest growing area in the world. 65% of the world population live here. The largest middle-class society in the world. For 30 years, the middle-class societies have been growing so fast in emerging Asia, and insurance has been falling behind. Insurance was not there adequately. If you compare it with peers in South America and peers in Africa, Southeast Asia is far behind, and China was behind. China is now the fastest growing market still. next to India and Vietnam on a different scale. And so we wanted to be here in the center of Asia Pacific with this kind of attitude of people you can get and build up a reinsurance company, taking advantage of the next 20, 30 years of window of opportunity offered by this emerging market growth. Of course, we are not just looking at emerging markets. We are supporting Japan, Australia, but also North America, the Caribbean, and also Europe. We are offering our services to companies. I don't know the exact amount. I think it's around 485 when I last counted, in 60 different countries. So we do that all out of Hong Kong. We have a small subsidiary in Switzerland, and it's just because of the location. The airport is superb. You can travel anywhere. Well, New York is a very long trip. It's still 14 and a half, 15 hours, and getting us very tired. But you can offer it from there. And then the people we couldn't hire here, we needed specialists from overseas. You get, with a very mature attitude of the immigration department, you really get the right people in. You can build global risk management capabilities in Hong Kong. And I would have to say so much more, but I know you're trying to get me off the mic. Yeah.
So I would now ask Mr. Ng Keng Hooi, Group CEO of AIA.
Yeah, thanks, KP. I won't say a lot about AIA because most of you would know AIA. You're either, an employee of AIA now or ex-employee. We are clearly, Hong Kong is our home. Yeah. Next year, we are going to be 100 years, okay? We are going to be 100 years in terms of our history. We started in Shanghai, okay, in 1919. And then in 1931, we started our business in Hong Kong, yeah? And we have grown, to be the largest life insurance company in the world, yeah? And today, if I can have a bit of self-indulgence by asking all of you all to recognize the man who spent 60 years building up this company. Edmund Z is here today. Let's give him a big, big hand. So we are very, very proud to be a Hong Kong, company, yeah. And there are three things which I'll say, that makes Hong Kong such an incredible, place to operate from. One, you can have, the best, international talents, okay? There's no markets, okay, in Asia which has got, such international talents as in Hong Kong. First, we have Hong Kongers who are here, who are very, very, talented, hardworking, some of the best people that we get, in Hong Kong. And at the same time, we are able to attract some of the international talents from all over the world. We have people from US, we have people from Europe, who are working here. You need international talent to be in this market so that there is, the sort of the mingling, and the interaction and cross-fertilization of, ideas and all that. And hence, this is a market where you can get the best talent, okay, in Asia, yeah. There's no lack of getting, the best people that you need, yeah. The second thing I want to say is, this is the, the entry point to China. China is the most exciting market, today. Yeah, China, for insurance company clearly will be a huge, attraction for most international company, yeah. And, Hong Kong is the way to enter China. So, hence, Hong Kong is such an attractive place for most international company, to set up, an office here, And finally, the third thing I want to say, Hong Kong has got an incredible, stable and open economy, Sometimes, we take for granted a lot of these things, Hong Kong, is corruption-free, you can do things, without worrying about the government of the day, I'm a Malaysian, so this is something that, is very close to my heart, having a corruption-free, environment, okay, very important, a very stable, operating environment, and something that, for us, in AIA, we, as I said earlier, 100 years, if you enter, the wrong place, sometimes, your business can't last that 100 years, We, of course, we started in China, but we came out of China in 1949 when the Communist Party took over, and then we re-entered China again in 92, So you can see in a long period of time where life insurance is, stability of the financial center is absolutely crucial.
Okay, thank you. I think the three gentlemen has so much good thing about the company. They should become your diamond sponsor next year. Now Winnie, please.
Okay, thank you. I just want to say that Asia Insurance also has almost 60 years history in Hong Kong, and being being one of the leading composite insurers in Hong Kong, we started in Hong Kong and continue to be headquartered in Hong Kong because of many reasons as well. First of all, of course, very strategic location at the heart of Asia, combined GDP of $18 trillion of markets within 4 hours of flying time from Hong Kong, matches the equivalents of New York and London. And also the high-speed rail, or the express rail link, together with the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge, further strengthen the connection and access to the mainland China market. So it facilitates our easy access as well as investments in the Southeast Asian countries where we have presence. And of course, our very unique one country, two systems, bilingual legal system and rule of law, underpinned by an independent judiciary, a leading legal services hub and dispute resolution center. And of course, a very clean, as Keng Hooi mentioned, clean and efficient government with strong public finances. But of course, we still need a lot of support from KP at the Finance Committee of LegCo in scrutinizing and expediting a lot of the public expenditure proposals. And we are proud to be the safest city, one of the safest cities in the world, with free economy, press, and information flow. We always take it for granted. We truly have free information flow, and it echoes very well with what Nicholas from TDC just mentioned in terms of our Belt and Road developments. I think information flow is a very crucial competitive advantage for Hong Kong as well. And our strong international talent pool, we're definitely very efficient, reliable, and committed. That is a quality that Hong Kong people always have. And very liquid and efficient capital market. We actually have 14 insurance entities listed on the main board in the Hong Kong Exchange, with a total market cap of approximately 2.8 trillion Hong Kong dollars, which is actually nearly 10% of the Hong Kong Exchange main board and GEM board market cap combined. And for the 14 insurance entities listed on Hong Kong Stock Exchange, their invested assets totaled over $17 trillion, equivalent of half of the market size of Hong Kong Exchange main board and GEM board combined market cap. And we have a very low and simple tax regime, with even more tax incentives, as KP mentioned, to be rolled out by the government to promote the insurance and reinsurance industry in Hong Kong. And last but not least, we have a very pro-business and very professional insurance regulator in Hong Kong. And they have done a lot in the past year. They haven't got a long history, but they have really done a lot for us. First of all, the CROS Equivalence Assessment Framework, which is something a lot of insurance practitioners believe it's a mission impossible, but then they achieved for us in promoting the insurance and reinsurance industry in Hong Kong. And they have rolled out the sandbox for facilitating innovation and insurtech applications, and the fast-track application of license to promote digital business. And they have also a lot of business-friendly policies for attracting captives, reinsurance, brokers, as well as specialty risk carriers to be set up in Hong Kong. So I think all these are making Hong Kong a very attractive place to set up headquarters.
Thank you, Winnie. It is really good for me because in Let's Go, I always hear about bad news about Hong Kong. Today, I hear so many promising good things, news about Hong Kong that make me strong again. So for the benefit of time, because we have already used up 20 minutes, maybe I cut it short so that every one of you please say about the challenges and the solution to the challenges. Everyone 3 minutes, please. Okay, thank you. Then I start with you, Ron.
I'm not sure I need 3 minutes. Thank you very much, KP. I think as far as challenges are concerned, when you're doing a business like insurance, it's always the people on the one hand. On the other hand, of course, the regulation framework, as well as the competition. But I think as far as all three is concerned, vis-a-vis Hong Kong, as you've heard, the government takes a reasonably relaxed attitude, allowing companies to bring in people in senior and even middle-ranking positions, if in fact you can demonstrate to the immigration department that that particular type of individual, let's say actuaries that we're talking about, are not available in Hong Kong. So that's a very flexible sort of policy. I think as far as competition is concerned, well, I think we always take the view that it's actually good for business as opposed to bad for business, because you need your competitors to actually keep you on your toes. So I think, of course, I think one of the other challenges in Hong Kong is the operating costs, both at the level of wages as well as perhaps even more so in rental terms, not just the offices that you rent, which is when you compare it to the residence that a handful of expatriate senior management might have to rent a home to spend $100,000 Hong Kong on a half-decent apartment in a reasonable area, and you for three executives, you are paying over $3 million a year Hong Kong for them, whereas the rental would probably for an office of 100 would be less than that. So I think these are some of the challenges that we face. Thank you very much.
Great, but you haven't provided a solution. Can I give you another 3 minutes to stop? Okay, you can wait.
No. Keng Hooi will provide the solutions.
Okay. Let AIA do it.
Because he's obviously the freest speaker amongst all of us. I was going to say, do Chatham rules, house rules apply here? I don't think so. There's too much media here.
Hahn, please.
Yeah, it's challenges and solutions. I mean, the Hong Kong government has identified now insurance really as an issue which we would like to tackle. We are only at the beginning. We have to see this. A lot of success. Double taxation is still a big pain in the neck, but a huge success recently on India-Hong Kong double taxation, which is benefiting, for instance, our company and other companies very much, everybody who wants to do direct business together with India. Another area is the equivalence. Thank you. You mentioned this, Winnie. It is now, can we prove that Hong Kong is really that hub? Can we get more capital in? can we get up the usage points of that equivalent status, right? We are working very hard, and I know we are in the middle of the renewals, and the team is working hard to increase our premium share from China. But it's not only about us, it's really about the market which is not yet here. Can we build a bigger capital management and capital and risk management market in Hong Kong? And the solution to those two things is double taxation. I think the government has understood it and keeps on negotiating. And on the second part, I think we need to keep on promoting Hong Kong. People need to understand it. We need to bring ancillary functions in. We need to bring think tanks in, but not only bring them in from international markets, but we also need to build our own. The biggest capital which we have is sitting next to us in China. Get that capital in, build the think tanks to really work on our own solutions, because we need to find our own solutions. And I think it always starts with education in the school. I think all of my colleagues, we are all very happy to speak about our success in our industry. It is a wonderful industry. I think the image in public is not correct. We need to, and nobody else, we are the ones who have to change it. There's nobody else who changes it for us. We need to speak out. We need to show how proud we are and what we are doing for the industry, what we are doing for so many millions of people, improving their lives. And this is up to us, and we need to improve our game.
Okay, thank you. King Hui, please.
Yeah, KP, I think I want to perhaps cover two areas. One is the changes in terms of regulatory side, that is coming. Yeah, if you look at it, the new, RBC regime that is going to come, that we see as a big challenge. We need to make sure that whatever that change comes along makes sense, for this market. Yeah, I like what Yoshi said. Asian voice needs to be heard. Because if it is a European voice that only European voice get heard, their market is very different from our market. Yeah, the European market is completely different from where we are. We are still very much, in the long-term market. We got to make sure that the regime that comes, being implemented, cater for the market that we are operating. We need to take care of the long-term needs, of the people in Asia. It's not only about Hong Kong, it's about Asia. Yeah, so I think I like what is being said by Yoshi. Hong Kong needs to take leadership. Yeah, I must congratulate, the IA, leadership, over the last few years. The pace at which is making, changes and taking on a leadership. I think it can go on to the next stage and make, Hong Kong be seen as, taking the leadership for Asia and dealing with some of these very complex issue. IFRS is the other one that is going to come into being, and is something where again, Asian voices are not heard enough. Our products are very different from that part of the world where it comes from, and so we got to make sure that we take the leadership in this area. Yeah. The second one, which I'll say, is Hong Kong clearly is an entry point for China. Yeah, but China is opening up. Yeah, Shanghai is going to challenge, Hong Kong as a center. It's a question of time. It may take time, but Shanghai will come out, to challenge, Hong Kong. Yeah. For now, I still believe that Hong Kong will be a lot more attractive, particularly for all the international company. But I think we got to watch that and not be complacent, and we got to do things to make, Hong Kong not only as entry point to China. It could be the other way, for Chinese company to use, Hong Kong as the launching pad for other part of Asia. That will be another, interesting sort of opportunity. So there's a lot of opportunity if I look at some of these things coming. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Winnie, please.
Yeah, I would just like to highlight a few more potential challenges as well as opportunities for us to work on. First of all, I think we should focus even more on market promotion and development. I think our regulator is definitely extremely busy multitasking right now. So it would be great to have more dedicated resources within the insurance authority to better proactively promote our industry, not just locally in Hong Kong, but also globally. And second area is we definitely need to invest more in talent development and retention. I'm sure a lot of insurance practitioners here are sharing my view that it's getting more difficult to attract and retain insurance specialists in Hong Kong. And I understand universities in Hong Kong are considering to develop insurance and risk management degrees and programs. And I think this is something that we need to speed up on. And the Hong Kong government actually granted $50 million for pilot program of talent development for the insurance sector. And I think this should definitely continue because it takes time to see the real impact. And another area is InsurTech. We definitely need to speed up on InsurTech development. And I think with better InsurTech development, it can help us to attract younger talent to join our industry as well because it's fun, it's more interesting, and it's not that old-fashioned. And, and then in terms of the potential areas for increasing our competitiveness, Keng Hooi mentioned about a fit-for-purpose RBC regime. I share that view as well because it has to be more tailored to the Hong Kong market situation. And as our Secretary General of IAIS mentioned this morning, a proportionate supervision. I think this is something that he highlighted several times, and I really share his view as well. And another area is market access to China, especially the Greater Bay Area. In fact, with more and more Hong Kong people living, working, studying, traveling, and retiring in the Greater Bay Area, there's actually very huge potential insurance gap as well as potential demand for insurance protection. So with more appropriate policies to be introduced, it can facilitate more Hong Kong-based insurers to provide protection-type coverages to Hong Kong citizens in the Greater Bay Area, as well as to the Greater Bay Area residents. And tax incentives is something that the government has been working on, of course, with a lot of hard work from IA as well as from FSTB. I think it has to be more targeted in terms of the tax incentives, in terms of attracting our insurers, reinsurers, as well as our international brokers to place and keep the business in Hong Kong. I think this is very crucial. And on the bigger initiative of Belt and Road, of course, this would benefit a lot of specialty insurers. And for insurance facilities and risk transfer solutions to be set up in Hong Kong, this is something that we can work on to address the risk concerns along the Belt and Road investments. And some risk management toolkits can be jointly developed with TDC, the Trade Development Council. This is something that they are working hard on as well, because they have the Belt and Road initiative, and I think IA can going forward work together with them instead of duplicating the resources. They have developed quite a lot, and I think there's something that you can work jointly together. And in terms of collaboration among regulators, this is probably something that is a great start in terms of the ILS developments. I heard a lot of emphasis on the fact that IA is helping to speed up on that, and this is a great start in terms of having more collaboration among the regulators in Hong Kong. And last but not least, I think the Hong Kong regulator, as well as insurance practitioners, can become even more visible in global organizations, as well as high-profile conferences for better promoting Hong Kong, as well as rebranding the image of the insurance market. So I think the Asian Insurance Forum is a great start, and I heard it's going to be conducted annually, so this is a great move.
Thank you, Winnie. I think we have many very good questions coming in, so we just go directly to Q&A section. The first question is, gateway to the mainland is certainly one of the critical competitive edge of Hong Kong. What is the most critical facilitation measure that may further accelerate this gateway? So anyone would like to take this question? Maybe Cage.
Just give us, an accelerated entry into China. I think, that, I think everyone will cheer, Right now it's 2021, if we can persuade, China that Hong Kong, company can go into China, 1 year or, or even more, 1 year minimum, I think that would be a great, achievement for Hong Kong. I've said that to Moses a number of times.
To the chairman. We rely on you.
We need you as well to do that and lobby
I'll do my best.
From Let's Go. Yeah, it's incredible. We can do that. Yeah,
Sure.
I think, obviously, to do it countrywide, it's going to be a bit of a challenge. Maybe, the best entry is the Greater Bay Area.
Yeah, sure.
And don't forget that, that has the oversight of one of the senior leaders from Beijing, and it's from the president himself that set the Greater Bay Area project, so to speak. So maybe step by step, but in the Greater Bay Area itself, I mean, there are silly things like taxation. Hong Kong people or overseas people working in mainland China that would be liable to mainland tax. All those things you'll need to be, ironed out and sorted out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Winnie, please.
Yeah, I think I also share the view that Greater Bay Area would be a key opportunity for us. And I'm more pragmatic. Instead of opening up the entire China market, I think the Greater Bay Area would be a great starting point in terms of introducing InsurTech business in the Greater Bay Area, in terms of introducing Health Insurance Connect, as Pierre mentioned this morning. So all these are real protection needs and protection gaps currently exist in the Greater Bay Area for Hong Kong people living and working there, as well as for residents in the Greater Bay Area. So there's real need there.
Thank you.
If I can just add, I think I hear, caution, pragmatic, we want to be a leader, we got to be bold, That's how I see it, we got to be really bold, yeah.
Okay. Anything you can say?
I'm bold on
the reinsurance side?
As a reinsurer, I'm bold on it because we have access.
We'll get the business, Franz, and we'll reinsure with you.
Thank you. And we have access to China already, and it's a level playing field since the hard work of IA and the government to really get that access of level playing field for reinsurers so that we are on equal par, almost equal par, with the capital requirements our clients have to have in China. So we are very happy, but whatever we can do to support the Hong Kong insurance market to get into China, as you say, Ron, absolutely happy to do so. It's our home and we feel committed to it.
But I think also in this particular effort, we shouldn't just think about ourselves to say that we want 100% of the business. I think we, ideally, we find suitable mainland partners so that, it's a win-win-win situation.
Okay, the second question is, availability of talent is critical to maintaining or enhancing the competitiveness of Hong Kong as home base for insurance group. What sort of caliber that the talent should possess in the eyes of your insurance group? So, AIA, you're a big employer. Anything to say on that? What are the talents?
What again, KP? What sort of
caliber or the talent
Kind of
that
caliber.
that
Caliber,
people,
yeah. What sort of caliber? I think we need people who will work hard, you know, smart, and you know,
Not easy.
yeah,
Nowadays.
you know,
Smart and work hard is not easy
smart
nowadays
and
for
work
young.
hard, you know. I think, yeah. I think you know that's the most important thing, right? If they work hard,
you're
you know,
absolutely right. You know,
they
we
do
need
well.
we need to train all of them so that we can steal them from you.
I hear the word stealing many
we
times.
are, you know, Edmund always tell me, you know, AIA is the insurance college. Yeah, so you know, so we are pleased to do our small, you know, contribution to the industry. Yeah.
Okay, Winnie, please.
Yeah, I just want to say that we actually hire people with multiple disciplines. We don't care too much about what they study at universities,
Yeah.
although it would be great to have more insurance and risk management graduates from local universities in Hong Kong. This is something that different universities, as I understand, are working on. But then in my view, I think increasingly we need to hire people with curiosity because of the emerging needs. There are a lot of emerging risks like climate change, like a lot of cybersecurity risk, Belt and Road countries associated with all sorts of political risks. So we need to hire people with curiosity to help us on insurtech developments as well. So I think curiosity.
Okay. Manas, anything to say?
I think what is very important for insurance and reinsurance is the diversity of background. You study, not to study and then to work in your study. You study and then you do something else and then you develop, and you can only be curious if you have studied another subject where you have excelled, but then you try something new. I myself, I'm a lawyer. I almost have forgotten that I'm a lawyer. I'm now 32 years in the industry, and what kind of fun. Every day is different. It's because risk is changing so rapidly, and we need to have people who can keep up with risk, who take smart decisions, who are not heroes, but who take smart decisions in what they are doing, who are supporting an entire team, because an individual person cannot take all the decisions. It has to be teamwork. You need very strong team workers. You need people who have the humbleness to work with others and to respect other capabilities. And this is something what we need to teach our kids. This is something what we need to teach in the universities. And I think this insurance industry, because it's a practical industry, can get better and better. And I look at Hong Kong very positively, that the challenges ahead of us, we will all take. Now that we got the attention by the government and the IA, I'm absolutely convinced this industry can develop very, very fast.
Okay, there's another question which is related to the same one. It's about also talking about with lack of talent, but what they're saying is that there are not too much courses in a university or secondary school that actually support the talent pool. So what does the panelists view on what the authority and the industry have to do to attract more talents?
I think as far as the universities are concerned, probably that's where we need to begin, you know, for the authority, for the insurance authority and ourselves, and not just in Hong Kong, to actually explain to the people setting out the degrees that what we want, we should explain to them the kind of skills that we're looking for. But I think Frank is right. You know, a lot of people read history and wind up being, you know, a banker or, you know, doing something completely quite different. So you don't necessarily have to be learned in the skills within the industry unless you want to be a specialist. You know, whether it's actuarial science or whether it's risk management and so forth. But I think the effort should really not just be a Hong Kong local effort, because I don't think we'll be able to train enough people, even for ourselves. So we should try and use this also to convince the Greater Bay Area cities and governments and universities there that they should too also enlarge their curriculum.
Yeah, I think I agree with Ron. You know, we shouldn't look at it from just Hong Kong alone. You know, this is if Hong Kong is going to be the leading financial center, we should look at it as Asia. And if you look at China, a huge number of talents in China from some of the best university, and we are attracting. I said at the beginning, we are attracting international, talents from U.S., Europe. These are all people who are excited by what is happening in Asia. They want to come out to this part of the world. Yeah, so these are the people I think we should attract. And I like what Moses shared about, the fact that IA is not just about, regulating, it's about growth. If the business, is growing, the industry is growing, it's going to be able to attract more and more of these bright, talents into the industry. Yeah.
Yeah, on this, I really want to share what Keng Hooi mentioned in terms of the different situation of life and non-life sector. So I think we need to address the root cause of the problem in terms of insufficient talent joining the industry. For the non-life sector, there are a lot of burning issues that we have to address in order to make the industry healthier and more sustainable and profitable going forward. Then with a healthier market, a bigger pie, then we can attract more talent to join our industry. So on this, I think we are definitely working together with the government, supporting us in terms of funding, with universities supporting us in terms of considering more insurance degree programs to be introduced. And also the FS at the luncheon also mentioned about the fact that for the time being, we have the talent list introduced by the Human Resources and Planning Commission in terms of attracting talent from overseas to support our growth, expatriates, specialists from overseas to support our growth, while at the same time we are working on our homegrown talents in Hong Kong. So it has to be done in parallel.
Okay, I also hear some comment. This is to our chairman, Moses, that the IA employ a lot of lawyers and accountants, but not so much technical underwriters, claims manager. Because if you have too many people from the technical side without understanding what's really doing in the insurance company, that may be a problem, because then you're difficult to strike a balance. For example, you may be heavily involved in regulation. So I don't know this right or wrong or correct. Please have a check. Okay, and then the other one is this is a very good question. Those on the panel have elected Hong Kong. They have Hong Kong major shareholders or long-term history here. But several international GI insurers and brokers have located or relocated to Singapore. Can the panel say anything about what else Hong Kong can do to attract more international company headquarters in the future versus other countries like Singapore or Shanghai? Are we already doing everything needed? Surely there are some area we can work on. This is very, very good one. So,
I think as far as international companies are concerned, as opposed to international insurance companies, we probably have the highest number based in Hong Kong as headquarters. If I remember the chief executive, Carrie Lam, giving a speech about a week or 2 weeks ago, I think she mentioned something like 8,000 international companies are headquartered in Hong Kong, but don't hold me to it because it's a number that over the years have grown. And the government plus the local effort is not directed at industry specific, but international companies just right across the board. I think in terms of the financial services side, I would think that Hong Kong is by far the leading international hub. I mean, we rank third in the global index after London and after New York. I think New York first, London second, and then Hong Kong. And certainly, even if you look in the context of China, and if in 10 years or 5 years or 15 years' time, Shanghai catches up with us, it doesn't matter. I mean, you know, we can have 2 international capitals for the amount of people that we have. We can perhaps be the one that's more international one, and Shanghai can be a little bit domestic. So all that adds to the attractiveness of Hong Kong vis-a-vis, you know, other Asian cities.
Professional firms don't shy away from strong, fair, transparent regulation. Whilst we are building this in Hong Kong, I think we have this field for international companies to see the value of Hong Kong and the value of Hong Kong's regulatory system. And they will choose happily Hong Kong as a home. We cannot force anybody, but I think Hong Kong speaks by itself. Again, I can only speak as a reinsurer, otherwise I may not be qualified to speak as a direct insurer, but as a reinsurer I can only say from an Asian perspective, all the developments are happening from a size perspective and scale perspective in Northern Asia. It is China foremost, right? But it's also South Korea. It is Japan. It's the developments in Hong Kong itself. It's such a beautiful place. I mean, in the end, it's the decision by the companies itself where they want to be housed. But I think Hong Kong will speak for itself again. And we should not forget, and sorry for the criticism, that for many, many years, we had a bit a dormant situation in Hong Kong when it came to the regulatory system. And that is now definitely changing. That has stopped. We have the attention in the right direction. So we need to trust ourselves. We need to trust ourselves. We need to build international corporations. We should not have the competition in our mind. We should build cooperation across the various regulation systems within Asia Pacific, and I think into China, but also into Southeast Asia. And I think the value of Hong Kong will be seen automatically. Hong Kong can stand by itself. We don't need to be afraid if a company announces that they would like to have a head office somewhere else for various reasons. But Hong Kong in itself can stand by itself. And so we should not be too much comparing ourselves.
Okay. Any other comments? Winnie, please.
For me, I think I would like to come back to the root cause of the problem that I've been highlighting in terms of the size and the profitability of the market. So I think the Greater Bay Area is a great opportunity for us to capitalize on in terms of enlarging the size and improving the overall and long-term profitability of the Hong Kong insurance market. I think this is probably another reason why our InsurTech business is still lagging behind. We're talking about investment and whether the market is big enough to substantiate and support the development and investment in the longer term, and whether the environment is good enough in terms of having all this sufficient technical expertise on InsurTech. Shenzhen is beside with a lot of technical expertise and technology experts that we can make use of. So all these can facilitate closer collaboration in enlarging our market size and also making a market more sustainable and profitable going forward.
I think there was one point that I probably omitted to mention, and it's something that we take for granted in Hong Kong. When you think about it, it's very simple. Hong Kong is probably the only city in the world that can work in English and Chinese in any area. Now, just go home and think about it. And we have 1.3 billion on our doorstep. So that's a huge advantage.
Yeah, thank you. I also have some comment on this one. I think it is, we are really facing a challenge that many companies, they have to decide whether they want to set up their regional quarters in Beijing or Shanghai or Hong Kong. So the only way that we can make Hong Kong, the number one choice is probably we can receive national treatment. Although we like one country, two system, but when doing business, we hope it can be one country, you know. Only for doing business, not others. Huh? So hopefully that is there's something, again, a very difficult task for the chairman and myself. So we can work together. And also, of course, Cayman, he's so powerful and so politically right all the time. So we rely on him. Huh? So this is another question. As the top management of your insurance group, if you have to pick one from your group's wish list, what will it be? So on anything that you want, and your wish list. Or wish list.
I can start, you know, I restate it, yeah, you know, between you, Clement, and Moses, if you can accelerate, you know, the entry into China, I think that has got to be number one, yeah.
Loud and clear. Franz, any for the reinsurance? What is your priority list, number one?
I still have in mind our discussion before. Excuse me for coming back to this, KP. I think we have a unique position in the rule of law we have in Hong Kong. Yeah. We should never forget this. This is, for international contracts, this is the single most unique feature if you compare Hong Kong as a hub with Beijing or with Shanghai. It's definitely outperforming, and I think also for Chinese companies working internationally, it's their favor to be here in Hong Kong. My wish list, the top wish list, I think I should not be too greedy. My wish list is that the Solvency II or RBC system is being introduced in a proper manner, and that we are taking the proper steps to identify the different kind of characters in the industry players which we have, because we have different players. They need different kind of regulatory treatment. And specifically for reinsurance, I wish that we will stay very competitive. I don't say make it easy, but make it competitive to any other place. And coming back to it, this is and will be the largest market in the world. And we have to cater for Asia, not only for ourselves. We have to cater for Asia. We have to come up with the best regulatory system we can think of. We have to define something which holds in the future and doesn't compare with what is there already in Europe. Professor, I can only echo you in what you said before. We need to define the future for Asia here today. Don't copy what other people have done 50 or whatever years ago. So this needs to stand on its own feet.
Okay, Ronnie.
I think definitely in terms of standing up and speaking for ourselves, and when I say that, I'm saying that in an Asian context. I totally agree with Josef about unity in diversity. But Hong Kong, if you look at Hong Kong, we've been very fortunate, you know, for the last 50 years that we've been able to participate, you know, on our own steam in international forum. Doesn't matter whether it's WHO, WTO, or whether it's IFRS. I was vice chairman of IFRS when it introduced IFRS 17, so I've got a little confession to make. But as a trustee, you know, we had no technical input into the standards. But it's causing all of us a little bit of grief and heartache. But I think, you know, we need to speak uniform, and not just for Hong Kong, but obviously for China as well as for Asia.
Okay, Winnie, please.
Yeah, just to pick one, I would definitely pick a bigger and healthier insurance market in Hong Kong, because that can help resolve a lot of the other problems like talent shortage. We can attract more talent as well as investment to come to Hong Kong. And to make it bigger and healthier, of course, that will include the access to the Greater Bay Area or the China market. So that can help us resolve a lot of other associated problems.
Okay, we have only a few minutes left, but I want to ask the last question, which also related to Moses and IA. So this is not on here. This is something from me. It's going to be a very difficult one for you. What I'm saying, that's what I've been thinking. I was thinking that we should have a super regulatory body, including MA, SFC, and IA, and make Moses and Cayman the chairman and the chief executive, so that we have a fairly regulated environment. You know, you just don't understand how difficult are other regulators. So I think the insurance industry have been so lucky that we are able to, directly speaking to Moses and Cayman in a very friendly way, and then he replied in a very friendly way. I understand in the regulator is almost not possible. As a regulator, I have no problem at all. But I think as the one being a regulator, I think they're a big problem. So what I'm trying to ask these gentlemen and lady here, what do you want the Hong IA to improve? Although I understand that they're already very friendly, very caring, always discussing with us. But is there anything you would like them to do more?
I think an open and friend partnership and dialogue. And obviously there will be occasions where the industry and you will disagree. Just think that the industry most of the time is correct and you are wrong.
Franz, you want to say something?
I like that. I think the dialogue is now very important. So what's the next most important thing is our dialogue on the Pillar 1, Pillar 2, then the IFRS 17 introduction, because we should not forget this is a huge opportunity for us. This is a burden, I know, but we need to overcome that burden. Ultimately, that's a huge opportunity if we do it right, and if you have the right dialogue with IA, we find the best possible solution, and that will benefit all of us so tremendously strongly. And so I have a strong belief in this one. So from our end, we certainly will do the dialogue and have the dialogue with you and give pushbacks whenever possible. But ultimately with the aim that that dialogue will bring us to the best possible regulation.
Okay, thank you, H.
Yeah, I think the leadership of both Moses and Clement was fantastic in terms of, in a way, set the thinking where IA would like to manage the whole industry. I think the regulatory one side and then the development agenda, I think that changed the thinking of the whole IA. I would say, you have very good people. They are very good people, very experienced, know the business and all that. Yeah, it's a question of now, setting the sort of right sort of thinking, bearing in mind the development agenda, which is very important, not just regulatory agenda, because you look at some of the countries in Europe, there's no industry to regulate anymore. It's gone. UK is an example where life insurance is going downhill and downhill. You see, there's nothing to regulate. Yeah. So I think that leadership, I would congratulate, the leadership and also the team. I would say the team, when we meet up with them, they've been very sensible. Yeah. Yeah.
Winnie, please.
I think I did mention that the insurance authority is already very pro-business, and they have actually done a lot in the past year in terms of, starting everything from scratch, basically. So it would be great to have dedicated resources on market development. This is a big job, and it requires more focused and dedicated resources. And I know your team is very stretched, so it would be great to have really dedicated team to work on this.
Okay, thank you very much. We have overrun, but please give a big hand to our panelists.
Thank
Thank you very much.